The arena floor was slick with blood that wasn't hers yet. Kessa knelt in the dust, her vision swimming, her weapon broken in 2 pieces at her feet. The crowd roared above, thousands of voices blending into a single thunderous wave that shook the stone walls. She could taste copper on her tongue and smell the acrid stench of her own fear. Across from her, Dravik the Unconquered raised his blade high. The champion stood 9 feet tall, his scaled hide gleaming emerald under the harsh arena lights. In 300 fights, he had never lost. In 300 fights, he had never shown mercy. The blade caught the light as it began its descent toward her neck. Kessa closed her eyes. She thought of her sister, waiting in the holding cells below. She thought of the death that had brought them both here, to this world of sand and blood and endless fighting. At least Myra would be spared. At least the debt would die with her. The sound that followed was not the wet crunch she expected. Instead, something whistled through the air, a sharp hiss that cut through even the roar of the crowd. Then came a sound like meat striking stone, and the roaring stopped. Kessa opened her eyes. Dravik stood frozen, his blade still raised. His mouth worked silently, confusion spreading across his reptilian features. Then she saw it. The shaft protruding from his right eye, buried so deep that only the fletching showed. Black feathers, simple and stark against his green scales. The champion swayed once, twice. His blade fell from nerveless fingers and clattered against stone. Then his massive body followed, crashing to the arena floor hard enough to raise a cloud of dust. He didn't move again. The silence that followed was absolute. 10,000 spectators held their breath as one. Kessa stared at the fallen champion, her mind refusing to process what her eyes showed her. Someone had killed the Unconquered. Someone had saved her life. A figure dropped from the arena wall, landing in a crouch 20 feet away. He straightened slowly, and Kessa felt her breath catch. He was human, lean, and unremarkable in simple dark, clothing that seemed impossibly plain for this world of decorated warriors and elaborate armor. In his left hand, he held a bow of dark wood, unadorned and elegant in its simplicity. His right hand was already reaching back to the quiver at his hip. The silence shattered. Guards poured from the gates, weapons drawn. The crowd erupted in confused shouting. The human didn't run. He stood perfectly still, watching the guards approach with an expression of calm disinterest. Who dares? The voice boomed from the royal box high above. Governor Thrask rose from his seat, his forearms spreading wide in fury. Who dares interfere with the sacred games? The human tilted his head back to regard the governor. When he spoke, his voice was quiet, but in the shocked silence it carried clearly. Someone had to. You have killed my champion, Thrask said, and his voice shook with rage. You have violated the sanctity of the arena. Do you know the penalty for such crimes? I know what you do here, the human replied. I've been watching for 3 days. I know you take people who can't pay their debts and force them to fight. I know you bet on how long they'll last. I know you call it justice. It is our law, Thrask said. It is our way. What business is it of yours, human? The guards had formed a circle around the archer now, at least 20 of them, weapons trained on his body. He didn't seem to notice them. His eyes remained fixed on the governor. I'm making it my business, he said. Kessa found her voice at last. Why? The word came out as a rasp. You don't know me. Why would you save me? The human glanced at her, and she saw something in his dark eyes that she couldn't name. Because I could, he said simply. Because it was right. Seize him, Thrask commanded. Bring him to me alive. He will fight in the arena himself, and we shall see how long his righteousness lasts when he faces true warriors. The guards moved in. The human's hand moved faster. 3 arrows were nocked, drawn, and released before the nearest guard had taken 2 steps. 3 guards fell, arrows buried in their knees, screaming but alive. The human had already drawn 3 more. "I don't want to kill you," he called out, "but I won't let you take me either. Stand down. There is one of you and thousands of us," Thrask said. "You cannot win. You cannot escape." "I don't need to win," the human said. "I just need to make this expensive enough that you'll listen. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to release every debt prisoner in your cells. You're going to end the practice of forcing people to fight for your entertainment. And you're going to do it today." The governor's laughter boomed across the arena. "And why would I do any of that? Because if you don't, I'll kill every champion you have, one by one from the shadows where your guards can't stop me. I've already proven I can do it. Dravik never saw me coming. Neither will the others. We will hunt you down," Thrask said. "Try," the human replied. "I've been hunted before. I'm still here." A new voice cut through the tension. "Father, wait." A younger male stepped forward in the royal box, his crest feathers marking him as Thrask's son. "Consider his words. The games have grown unpopular in recent seasons. The other worlds speak against us. If we end them now, we could claim moral reform. If we refuse and he makes good on his threat, we look weak and cruel both." Thrask's eyes narrowed. "You would have me bow to this terrorist's demands?" "I would have you think strategically," the son replied. "What does it cost us, really? The debt prisoners are a minor revenue source. But the ill will of the galactic community grows daily. This gives us a reason to change that seems like strength rather than surrender to outside pressure." Kessa watched the exchange with growing disbelief. The human had somehow shifted the entire dynamic with 1 arrow and a handful of words. He hadn't won through force. He'd won by making surrender the smarter choice. Governor Thrask was silent for a long moment. Finally, he spoke. "If I agree to these terms, what guarantee do I have that you will not simply kill my champions anyway?" "My word," the human said, "which is worth more than you know. Humans have a saying, we keep our promises. And if I refuse?" The human drew and fired in one smooth motion. The arrow split the air and buried itself in the wooden arm of Thrask's throne, inches from the governor's hand. "Then I'll keep that promise too." The crowd gasped. Guards raised their weapons, but Thrask held up one hand. His expression was unreadable. "You are either the bravest fool I have ever met, or the most dangerous. I cannot decide which." "Both," the human said. "Usually both." Another long silence. Then Thrask lowered his hand. "Very well. The debt prisons will be emptied. The arena fights will end. You have my word as governor." "Father, no!" One of the other sons shouted. "You cannot simply silence," Thrask commanded. "I have spoken. Let it be done." He turned his gaze back to the human. "And you, Archer, what is your name, so that I may remember the one who ended a tradition 300 years old?" "My name is Jack," the human said. "Just Jack. Nothing special about me, except I was here, and I could help." "That's usually enough." Kessa struggled to her feet, pain lancing through her ribs. "And me? What happens to me now?" Jack turned to her and smiled. It was a warm expression, genuine and kind. "You walk out of here free. You and your sister both. No debt, no obligation. You get to start over." Tears burned in Kessa's eyes. She had entered this arena prepared to die. Now she stood on the edge of a new life she hadn't dared imagine. "How can I ever repay you?" "Don't repay me," Jack said. "Pass it forward. When you see someone who needs help, and you can give it, do it. That's all I ask." The guards began to lower their weapons. confusion evident in their movements. The crowd remained stunned into silence. Jack walked across the arena floor to where Kessa stood, offering his hand. She took it, and he helped steady her. "Can you walk?" he asked. "I think so," she said. "Good. Then let's get you to the medical bay and find your sister." He turned to face the guards. "I assume no one has any objections?" No one spoke. No one moved. The human had somehow walked into their arena, killed their champion, threatened their governor, and won a complete surrender without losing a single drop of his own blood. It seemed impossible, yet here they stood dot as Jack helped Kessa toward the arena gates. She looked back at Dravik's fallen body. The great champion, the unconquered warrior, laid low by a single arrow from a man who claimed to be nothing special. She thought about what that meant, what it said about humans and their capabilities. "Your people," she said quietly. "Are they all like you?" Jack shrugged. "Some better, some worse. We're just folks trying to do right by each other, mostly. But yeah, when we see something wrong, we have a habit of trying to fix it. Can't help ourselves." Kessa thought about that as they walked into the tunnel, leaving the silent arena behind. Somewhere in the holding cells below, her sister waited, not knowing that freedom was coming. Not knowing that a human with a bow and a conscience had changed everything. She thought maybe, just maybe, the galaxy was about to learn something important about humanity. They didn't always win because they were stronger. They won because they refused to look away.